How do we overcome this? So if you've ever tried to quit smoking or quit drinking or change your diet, we know that it's hard, but we also know that it gets easier. So how do we form new habits that will help us eliminate some of these old habits? Excellence is not an act, but a habit. The things you do the most are the things you'll do the best. So when you're first learning how to do something, it's going to be very difficult, but then it can kind of become almost a reflex. I don't generally talk about smoking as a good thing, but what can we learn about habit formation from smoking? So I'm definitely not telling you to pick up smoking, but think about what smoking is. The gratification is instant. It causes pleasure centers in your brain to light up. It's instant gratification. So if you want to make a habit, what can we learn from smoking? There needs to be reward. That's why I keep saying that reward is so important, because the reward from smoking, I've never smoked a cigarette, but I'm assuming the reward is instant, because you get the nicotine, you get the break from whatever you're doing. So learning how to smoke, picking up the smoking habit, super easy. Instant gratification, instant reward. So how do we so studying is more like flossing than smoking, right? So if you start flossing, if you're lucky, 6 months from now, your dentist is going to say, good job. Or maybe you're not going to get gingivitis 12 years from now. But do you see how much harder it is to floss than to smoke? Because there's no instant gratification. And if anything, it's the opposite. I'm bleeding, it hurts, right? It's a negative thing. So just the same thing with, let's say you're gonna start eating better. So you start having big salads, and the payoff is hopefully you don't get colon cancer someday, but there's no real instant gratification. And if anything, you're having gas and bloating and things that are negative. So studying is painful, and there is no instant gratification. So we have to find a way to make studying less painful, and we have to find a way to get some sort of gratification. So that's why I talk about rewards being super, super important. We'll start with these learning training wheels. What are things you have to do when you're learning how to learn, when you're learning how to be a better student, that you may not have to do forever, but you're going to have to do this until you turn learning, until you turn studying or being a good student into a habit where you do it reflexively, then you're going to have to do these things. And you know what? You may have to do them forever. I have never quit smoking. I quit drinking years ago, and don't even think of it. But I'm sure when I quit drinking, there were things I had to do that. Well, I know for a long time I didn't go out, didn't go around where people are drinking. Now it wouldn't bother me one bit, right? Because it's just I guess not drinking is a habit, so that there's no cognitive load. Doesn't take any energy, mental energy for me to even think about it. But when I first stopped drinking, I avoided places where people are going to be drinking. So same kind of thing here. So what do I call the learning training wheels? Anything you can do that makes it easy to sit down and study or to learn, and hard not to. So this would be like they tell you to keep your exercise clothes out. Keep a gym bag by the door. Keep your running shoes somewhere where you see them. You have to trip over your gym bag if you're not going to go. So there's a little tiny things, but studies show that they do matter. They make it more likely that you're going to do what you need to do. So the equivalent here, I like to call it, I can't do blank until I do blank. So the first blank is something you really enjoy, something rewarding. The second blank is what is not very rewarding. So let's say you like to play video games, or you like music, or whatever it is you like. I can't do that. I can't play my favorite song. I can't do what I love to do until I do the learning, until I do something that maybe isn't as good. So my brain can actually start to look forward to learning because it knows it's going to get that reward at the end. So keep that in mind. I can't do blank until I do blank. So this is why I recommend, if you can, in the morning is a perfect time to do these difficult things. So I got to eat this frog, then I can go read the paper with my coffee or do whatever I'm looking forward to. So I can't do blank that I don't enjoy as much until I do blank that I do enjoy. So you also have to get rid of distractions. If you're learning how to focus, then you have to avoid distractions any way that you can. So if you're sitting down to study, there should be as few distractions as possible. There are apps and websites that will make it so you can't open other parts of your computer. You can turn the internet off, these types of things. But what I generally do is distraction-free devices whenever possible. So my phone doesn't have social media on it. And that was very difficult. I use social media all the time. I have a page for my students. So I send information out on social media every single day. But I don't do it from my phone. I do it from my computer. I actually schedule it. I use post scheduling. So I'll sit down in maybe a 10-minute window, decide what things I'm going to share with my students, and I schedule it throughout the day. So if you were following me on Facebook, you might think I'm on there all day long, but I'm not. Those things were scheduled maybe a week in advance. So I schedule times when I use social media, but it's on a computer. It's not on my phone. That way, if I have 30 seconds to spare, I'm not jumping onto Facebook. So I deleted all social media from my phone. My phone is a distraction-free device. The hardest thing to get rid of was the ESPN app, Saturdays especially. Like if I want to know college football scores, like I have to text a friend if I'm not home. And if I'm home, I have to make a trip to the computer and check the scores, these kind of things. So it's made it harder for me to procrastinate and distract. The most distracting thing on my phone is actually an app called Habitica. And what that is it is kind of a video game. So my son Oliver has one, my whole family has one, where my to-do list will actually earn me experience points, and I'll level up as this character and I can get a new sword. Like you never use a sword, but it's pretty cool to have a sword. So I have like daily habits. My son's a good example. So if my son goes to school, he's a good boy at school, listens to mom and dad, these things actually earn points on this game. But the reason I bring that up is because, so if I'm bored, so bored that I'm going to check my phone, even though it doesn't have these distracting things on it, what I check is my to-do list. What are the things I can do to be a better person? So what are the daily habits I need to be a better dad, better teacher, etc.? What are the things on my to-do list? So if I get bored, I'm left with only that option. What's the next constructive thing I can do? So that's changed my life. If that's the only thing you do, is you create a place or a device that is distraction-free, it makes it way less likely for your brain to pull you out of what you need to do and focus on what you want to do. So that's been really powerful for me. I don't want to gloss over that. And I know it's very difficult for students. Other thing is accountability. So if you are trying to start an exercise routine, what do? You get a workout buddy. You may not want to exercise today, but you don't want to let that person down. It's crazy, but we are more likely to let ourselves down than almost anybody else. Who can hold you accountable to learn? Who can hold you accountable to be a better student, to be a better learner? So it really is the same thing. So a study partner could be seen the same thing as a gym partner. You have to explain to your partner why you didn't put in the work today, and that'll make you more likely to do it. You might not be happy, but you'll be more likely to do it.